Hi Denise. So I'm making this video today for my friend Denise, who really wanted to know how I applied my Bareminerals BarePro foundation. You can basically apply it in whichever way is most comfortable for you, but I wanted to show how I apply it and how I get the best results, because I've been playing with this foundation since July, and I think I figured out the way that works best for me and my skin and makes it look really flawless and great when I apply it. So first I start with a primer, and this one is by Milani. It's an illuminating primer. I have dry skin, so I tend to prefer illuminating primers, but basically any primer will do, depending on what you're looking for, whether you want to be glowy, whether you want to fill in pores, and I like to be glowy because I feel like this is a more matte foundation. I prefer to use it with a dewy primer to help tone that matte factor down. Then once I primed, I take a palette and I shake it up first. It even says on the bottle or on the box, I think, to shake before use. And I do 2 pumps, so just that much, and I take it with my finger and I just dot those 2 pumps all over my face, and that way it's not messy as squirting it directly from the bottle onto your face, but then you're not also squirting it directly onto your applicator, whether that's a brush or a sponge, and you're not letting that absorb most of the product. So then, where's my, I have a brush somewhere. My tools of choice for this foundation are either a sponge, which I have the Real Technique sponge, is pretty dirty right now. But you just wet it so it gets really poofy and really moist, and it's more become my favorite now that it's October and it's getting drier. It just adds a little moisture back into the foundation and back into my skin. And then I have this kabuki brush from Sigma, so I prefer either a kabuki brush or a sponge. So I'll do half and half so you can see how those 2 methods work. So with this particular kabuki brush, I do not buff really in a circular motion. I just take the product and sort of sweep it on. So that's what basically 1 pump on half my face looks like with the brush. And then with the sponge, you just take that and you pounce it in. What I like about the Real Technique sponge, besides it works great, is it's cheap, it's readily accessible. Like, you can get it at Ulta, you can get it at Walmart, you can get it at Walgreens. And like, sponges you have to replace a lot more often than your brushes, so I don't want to spend like $20 on a sponge I'm gonna have to toss out fairly soon, so it's nice that you can generally find these on sale and get them super cheap and not feel guilty about spending so much on something so disposable. So that is a brush on a sponge. As you can see, the sponge is just slightly more sheer, but like I said, just when it's a little drier, it adds a little moisture back. It feels really great and cool on the skin. And then typically I do have excess, so I just save the excess for areas that I think need more coverage and use it in those areas. Like I think I still have a little redness peeking through here, definitely blemishes showing through here, so I'll just dab it on those areas and either pounce it in with the beauty blender or sweep it in with the brush. Excuse me. Yeah, and the only thing about these like more matte, fuller coverage foundations is they do tend to like settle in my forehead lines a little bit more. So I just want to show you close up, like this is what it looks like with the application method. Then what I do is my typical concealing routine. So I take either, if I'm having bad under eye circles, my Age Rewind, or just if they're not too bad, my Stroke of Light by Bareminerals. Today is a bad day, so I'm concealing. And then, you know, I could do the whole highlighting and the whole concealing. I don't know if you want to see that. I could do that in another video, but this is part of how like I conceal and set my makeup. So I'm gonna conceal and then I'll come back and I'll show you how I set. Alright, now I'm concealed, so I'm going to set. I have multiple ways that I set my face, so I'm going to show you. The first thing is I have a different setting powder for my under eyes. I have a brightening setting powder because this foundation powder that I set my face with will darken my under eyes that I just brightened, along with this translucent powder that I am going to set my face with as well. This will darken my under eyes. So I have a specific brightening setting powder. It's the NYX banana powder to set my under eyes. So I'm gonna show you the difference between using a brightening powder and just a regular setting powder. And I'm using a Real Techniques setting brush. It's really easy to get. You can get it again at Ulta or anywhere they carry Real Techniques. But you just really want to gently tap that powder in, not be too rough. So there's that side. It's still nice and bright, but you take this translucent powder on the other side of the brush and that is a whole lot darker than this side, to me at least in the mirror. I don't know if that's picking up on camera, but this is not bright anymore. It's more the same color as the rest of my face, whereas this is like a shade or two different than the rest of my face. So if you want that bright under eye, definitely get a specific under eye setting powder that brightens versus just using your regular translucent setting powder. And definitely at all don't use like your foundation powder if it's darker than the rest of you, like this one is for me, because then you'll have dark under eyes and they'll look shadowy and all the work you did concealing and brightening will be undone. But how I use this to set my face is I take a fluffy powder brush, and this is, I have no idea where well, I know where I got this, but I don't know who makes it. And I just load up the brush and tap it in. And I use this when I want to kind of darken up my foundation. Because like I said, it's a little bit darker. And I just pounce it in just like I did with the Beauty Blender. So as you can see, this is slightly darker than this side, so it gave me a little more color and matches more my summer like tan color, versus this is gonna be what I'm probably gonna be next month. And then with the translucent powder, again, I just take another fluffy powder brush. This is Bareminerals Mineral Veil, by the way. It's hard to tell by the packaging, but it's their special holiday packaging. And I just pour a little in the lid, swirl it around, basically like you do with original foundation, and just pounce that in. And as you can see, this doesn't really change the color like it did with my under eye. It looks pretty much exactly the same, but it doesn't make me match anymore. Like this one kind of helped match me because this foundation is a little too light, but only for right now. So I'm just gonna sweep off any excess powder and let you take a look and see. This is what the pressed foundation looks like. This is what the translucent powder looks like. And then I basically just do my eyes, do my whole face, and set it with a setting spray. So I'm going to do my face really quick and then show you how I use a setting spray. Alright, I just contoured, blushed, and highlighted and put a lipstick on. I didn't feel like putting on mascara, but I just wanted to show you like how complete-ish I usually get before I do a setting spray. Here I have the Milani Make It Last. It's like a cult favorite. I've only used this much, so I'm not gonna like say it's my #1 setting spray of all time, but it's pretty good. I mean, I haven't put it through the ringer yet. So I just hold it about this far out from my face, and I spray kind of in a half circle around my face, and I close my eyes. And then just kind of wave it dry. And that is your complexion done and set and finished. So yeah, that's how I do my base and everything with the BarePro. And if you want further details of the things I skipped over or have any questions, just let me know. I mean, you've got my number, and anybody else out there watching this, there's the comment section. Hope that helps, girl. Bye.